Welcome. Let's look at the Extensor Pollicis Brevis versus the Extensor Pollicis Longus. Let's try and use this image by the side to describe where these two muscles are located. This is the posterior region of the forearm. This is specifically the deep layer of the posterior region of the forearm. This muscle that is harrowed in red is the Extensor Pollicis Brevis, while the other muscle on this other side that is harrowed in yellow is the Extensor Pollicis Longus. These two muscles are extensors because they are located in the posterior compartment of the forearm, and they are also pollicis because they are inserted on the thumb, as you can see. While one is a short muscle, the other is a long type of muscle. So let's go through this short video where we'll be highlighting the similarities and also the differences between these two muscles. First, let's look at the similarities between these two muscles. The Extensor Pollicis Brevis and its longus version are both located in the extensor compartment of the forearm. This we initially highlighted in our previous slide. They are also both specifically located in the deep layer of the posterior compartment of the forearm. If you go back to our previous lecture on the muscles in the posterior compartment of the forearm, we highlighted in that lecture that we have two layers of muscles. We have a superficial layer and we have a deep layer. Within the deep layer is where we have these two muscles. These two muscles are also seen to cross over the wrist. If you go back to the muscles in the posterior compartment of the forearm, you will see that all the muscles that are located in this region are not all seen to cross over the wrist. While we have the bulk of this muscle crossing over the wrist, the Extensor Pollicis Brevis and its longus version are among the muscles that are seen to cross over the wrist. You try to use this image on this other side. This is where we have the wrist. And if you look at these two muscles, the Extensor Pollicis Brevis that is harrowed in red and the Extensor Pollicis Longus that is harrowed in yellow are seen to be crossing over the wrist. These two muscles are also seen to pass deep to the Extensor retinaculum. If you go back to this image, this is where we have the Extensor retinaculum, which is a thickening of the artebrachial fascia. This Extensor retinaculum is seen to help hold the tendons of the extensor muscles in place. It is also important that we highlight that the Extensor Pollicis Brevis and its longus version are classified as extrinsic muscles of the hand. They are extrinsic because they are like a visitor muscle in the hand region. They are specifically seen to be located in the posterior region of the forearm, as we've initially highlighted. They are also specifically seen in the deep layer. The bulk of the Extensor Pollicis Brevis and its longus version are located in the forearm. They are only seen in the hand region where they will be taking their insertion sites. And this is where they are classified as extrinsic muscles of the hand. Also, one of the similarities that I would be highlighting is the fact that the tendons of these two muscles are seen to insert on the thumb. This we initially also highlighted. And this is where they are inserted on around the thumb. Another similarities that I would be highlighting is the fact that these two muscles are innervated by the posterior interosseous nerve. This posterior interosseous nerve is an emergence from the deep branch of the radial nerve. And finally, the tendons of these two muscles are seen to create structural pillars of the anatomical nerve box. If we go back to this hand region where we say that the tendons of these two muscles take their point of insertion, there is a creation of a triangular impression just around the posterior region of the thumb. And this impression is so created by the tendon from the Extensor Pollicis Brevis and also its longus version. Let's go to the next slide where we'll be highlighting the differences between these two muscles. And the first difference we'll be looking at is based on their point of origin. The Extensor Pollicis Brevis is seen to originate from the posterior surface of the distal third of the radius and also the associated interosseous membrane, while the Extensor Pollicis Longus is seen to originate from the posterior surface of the middle third of the ulna and also the adjacent interosseous membrane. Let's try and use this image to further illustrate this. This is the bony alignment of the upper limb. This region that is highlighted in red is the humerus, while inferior to the humerus we have the forearm bones. And these two bones include the radius on the lateral side and also the ulna on the medial side. We have the emergence of the Extensor Pollicis Brevis from the posterior surface of the distal third of the radius and also the associated interosseous membrane. Don't forget, we already highlighted that the radius is positioned on the lateral side, while the origin site for the Extensor Pollicis Longus is from the posterior surface of the middle third of the ulna and also the associated interosseous membrane. And this is what is highlighted here in yellow. So you would see that at the point of origin, the Extensor Pollicis Longus is seen to emerge at a more superior level than the Extensor Pollicis Brevis. And this is one of the justifications for the length of this muscle. It means that the Extensor Pollicis Brevis will be originating at a more inferior region. Then also, if you go back to the point of insertion at this lower end, you would see that the Extensor Pollicis Brevis is seen to insert on the posterior surface of the base of the proximal phalanx of the thumb. And this is where this arrow is pointed. While the Extensor Pollicis Longus is seen to be inserted on the posterior surface of the base of the distal phalanx of the thumb. Don't forget that the thumb is seen to have two phalanges, the proximal and also the distal phalanges. And if the Extensor Pollicis Brevis is seen to be inserted on the proximal phalanx, it means that it will be inserted on a more superior level. While the Extensor Pollicis Longus, that is highlighted here in yellow, is seen to be inserted on the distal phalanx, which of course will be inserted on a more inferior level. And this also contributes to the fact that the Extensor Pollicis Longus will be a longer muscle than its brevis version. When we also try to highlight the differences between the primary actions of this muscle, the Extensor Pollicis Brevis is seen to primarily extend the thumb at the metacarpophalangeal joint. And this is basically because of the point where it inserts upon. Don't forget that this muscle we initially highlighted that the insertion point of the Extensor Pollicis Brevis is on the proximal phalanx. And if it is inserted on the proximal phalanx, the bone that is superior to it is the first metacarpal, which of course would mean that it will be exerting its effect at the metacarpophalangeal joint, because this joint will exist between the metacarpal and also the phalanges, which is basically the proximal phalanx. While the primary action of the Extensor Pollicis Longus will be to extend the thumb at the interphalangeal joint. And this is also basically because of its point of insertion. If we go back to the point of insertion of the Extensor Pollicis Longus, you will see that it is inserted on the distal phalanx. And the distal phalanx will have the proximal phalanx located above it. And in between these two phalanges, we have the interphalangeal joint. And this is why it will only be primarily be exerting its effect of extension of the thumb at this joint. If you go back to the part through which the tendons of the Extensor Pollicis Brevis and Longus run, you would see that for them to be able to cross over the joint, they will need to pack deep to the extensor retinaculum. We already highlighted this previously in their similarities. But below the extensor retinaculum, there is a creation of 6 compartments. Let's try and use this arrangement to further illustrate this. The tendon of the Extensor Pollicis Brevis is seen to pass through the first compartment. If you go back to this image, this is where we have the first compartment that is arrowed here in blue. The first compartment is created around the lateral side. And don't forget that the Extensor Pollicis Brevis is located more also on the lateral side. This space is not only seen to allow for the passage of the tendon of the Extensor Pollicis Brevis, it is also seen to be accompanied within this same first compartment by the tendon of the Abductor Pollicis Longus. And this is what is highlighted here in yellow. While the tendon of the Extensor Pollicis Longus is seen to pass through the third compartment. And this is what is arrowed in black. So you see that passing through the wrist, the tendon from these two muscles are seen to be passing through different compartments. And it is important that we also highlight this. Then going back to the creation of the anatomical snub bus or the radial fossa, we already highlighted this also in the similarity slide that we described previously. So let's try and use this image up here to further illustrate this. This triangular marked region is the triangular impression that is referred to as the anatomical snub bus or the radial fossa. So the lateral border that is heralded in red will be formed by the tendon of the Extensor Pollicis Brevis. This tendon is not only seen to be creating this alignment around the lateral border, it is also seen to be reinforced or supported by the tendon from the Abductor Pollicis Longus. So you have these two tendons around the lateral side. Now, if you come to the medial side, we have the tendon of the Extensor Pollicis Longus. So you see that the tendons from these two muscles are seen to be creating the structural pillar for the anatomical nerve bus around different regions. Also creating the differences between the disorders of the tendon of these two muscles. The tendon from the Extensor Pollicis Brevis is seen to be involved in Dequervain syndrome or tenosynovitis. And this is primarily the inflammation of the tendons of muscles that are located in the first compartment. If we go back to the first compartment, we already highlighted that we have tendons from these two muscles passing through the first compartment, and this includes the tendon from the Extensor Pollicis Brevis and the tendon from the Abductor Pollicis Longus. Why the tendon of the Extensor Pollicis Longus is involved in Drummond's palsy or Drummond's paralysis, and this will occur when there is inflammation or damage to the tendon of the Extensor Pollicis Longus. So you can add to the differences in the comment section, and I'll be looking forward to it. So thanks for watching this video. Bye.